on this rap-ish. I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list. Hope I ain't missing my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues. Guess if you ain't at the table, you on the menu. And I'm that spitter, baby. They don't want you to see, but everybody's south of Capitol Hill's rocking with me. Boys smoke the trays and ponder getting their life together. I'm comfortable with my role, so I'm like, whatever. Me? I ain't got a job, but I work hard. And you don't work hard, but you got a job. The irony is I'm judged while you feel the applause. I'm slept on, that's why I had to set this alarm. My dudes is armed, I'm armed with this arm charm. Body banging like she got that cream from Barry Bonds. Yeah.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
That Dre season is here, a real hitter with a mic, I'm everything that they fear. With that hood ain't the same, I was all on their ass, I'm level-headed. So yo, my dudes love when I spaz, and I'm so over Seattle's passive-aggressive attitude. They don't call you back, what they really saying is F you. While I'm from the same place, I move at a different pace. I prefer if you just said it to my face, damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Average dudes with they average spit, writing average rhymes, knocking average chicks. The closer I get, I can feel the people starting to shift. I'm loyal to a fault, and everybody can't come with. Rap's a rich man's game, I'm only playing with change. They bang models and singers, I'm knocking my old flame, I'm different. The crowd, I move with the chosen few. Black thoughts, I could be the front man for the roots. No diamonds and gold, I'm on my sticks and stones. If we can see your panty line, you should have on a thong. My team is strong, through this fire we forged a bond. And they already know what it is when I get on. To the hearse, party like it's December 31st. When I'm on my deathbed, I probably cracking my nurse. You ain't got the bars to compete, I'm a verbal athlete. Deflating these boys so they say that I cheat. Damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Yeah. I should probably start by apologizing for the long wait, man. You know, I know I be tripping. But I'm not just a rapper, I'm an artist. And, you know, my creative process is a little bit different than most. Nonetheless, I want to welcome everybody out to the Dre's Experience. I got TCF in the building, my whole camp's here with me. I got the band in here laying this cool-ass vibe. And I'm Seattle's own. Let's get into it.
Grand Rising, everybody. Good morning to all of you out there. Happy Thursday to you. Can't believe we're getting through this week. You know, after a short week last week, it feels like this week has been moving slower than normal. But it's a great Thursday out here. We got some great weather here in the Seattle region, and I hope you guys are enjoying it this far. Happy to have another great show for you right here on the Morning Update Show. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And I got to bring in my guy, host with the most, Big O. What up, Big O?
Good morning, Trey Holiday. How are you?
I'm well. How are you, my friend?
Man, I'm chilling. I can't complain. Man, you're looking good there in the studio.
Thank you. Thank you. You're looking great as well.
Well, hopefully I look relaxed.
Nice and easy, yes.
All right, good morning, everybody. I want to welcome you to the Morning Update Show and remind you that right now is the perfect opportunity to tag and share the stream. Go ahead and tag and share the stream with people you feel would appreciate culturally relevant news and information emanating right here from the Emerald City. Want to give a big shout out to our partners over at the South Seattle Emerald and KBCS 91.3 over at Bellevue College. Want to remind everybody that you can listen to the Morning Update Show anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast. Right now they got SoundCloud up, but you can also check us out on Google, Spotify, and iTunes as well. Also, this is a good reminder that the COVID-19 vaccine is readily available in King County. I'm going to put the link in the comments right there. If you want to get vaccinated, you can just click the link and you can find a location that's close to you. The vaccine is free and it's fast. Also, in some cases, they can actually come and vaccinate you I know that there's going to be more news about what's going on with the vaccine and vaccinations and restrictions later on today coming from the county. So we'll also keep you guys updated as when that comes out. We'll post things up on our blog and on our social pages. Let's see here. I think it's time for our quote of the day. It isn't where you come from, it's where you're going that counts. And that's from the incomparable Ella Fitzgerald. What do you think about that one, Trey?
You know what? Ella was full of great quotes, and I was able to portray Ella in Dark Divas, brought to us by New Black Arts West Theater. And to be honest, she's absolutely right here when you think about what we actually go through. Love this quote, and I love that you're bringing in some of our old greats. Oh, great work.
Yeah, well, don't worry about it. We also have some from a quote from Curtis Delgado II, Cuddy. Maybe we'll play that tomorrow. So we have some contemporary ones as well. I never knew this young man was so quotable, but he made sure to put himself in the batch of quotes of the day. So we'll go ahead and get to that. I got it from this side, Curtis. Let's see here. First up, this is some big news, especially for people who ride Link Light Rail. This comes from our buddy Justin Carter over there, the Capitol Hill Seattle blog, with prime directive to inform not to enforce. Sound Transit is testing a light rail ambassadors, and so basically, as it says here, Sound Transit prepares to add 4.3 miles of service to its light rail lines. You also find new fare ambassadors on the trains that was starting this week in an effort to address concerns about equity and heavy-handed fare enforcement. The pilot program started on Monday with ambassadors checking riders for proof of payment and providing help and information about the transit service. And they're saying that they want all passengers to feel comfortable asking fare ambassadors for advice, whether they need help getting to their destination or they're having troubles purchasing fares. That's from Sound Transit Chief Passenger Experience and Innovation, Russ Arnold. This full article is there. They put in the links from the South Capitol Hill Seattle blog.
Hey, you know what? This is a really great story and a great update about how they're moving in a certain direction to include equity really in their approach with fare enforcement. I know many of people that were like, man, who do these guys think there are? When the trains first came on board, and then we had our rapid ride lines where they were also doing fare enforcement on the buses. So this is really interesting, to hear that, they're understanding, maybe listening to some of that feedback from folks that have had those restrictions put on them as riders of Sound Transit. And, there's a lot going on with Sound Transit as they expand south. And, honestly, hey, I love that they're taking a different approach a little bit here with regard to also allowing them to speak to helping the riders and not just being there for enforcement.
Right. Well, the fare enforcement isn't necessarily something new in other parts of the country, especially on trains and things like that. It was a lot of people getting tickets, and I think that was the even bigger issue is it was the penalty that was around it. The people who were doing the fares before could have been ambassadors, right? But their role was to actually issue tickets. And someone was saying that, and I'm not versed on it, so I don't want to go too deep into it, but they were like, the cost of enforcement, if you were to take the salaries for the cost of enforcement, you might even be able to offer people free service on the train. It's just, I think there's just a lot of different ways that people are looking at it there on the light rail. And then it was like, it wasn't last school year, it must have been 2 school years ago, or maybe 3, where you got a lot of pushback from parents whose kids were riding the train the first day of school and they were getting tickets.
Yeah. This is something I think when they first rolled it out, there was a lot of kinks they had to work through. And so again, I think, listening to what people's experiences were with those heavy restrictions is, again, maybe what's informing their decision to say now we have ambassadors versus, fair enforcement officers is what they were really considered beforehand. And you're right, when we think about, this not being something new from a global perspective when we talk about public transit. But, for us, we have to be able to, I think, listen to the people and take in their stories and make adjustments as necessary. And you're right, there was a lot of tickets being issued out in the beginnings of fair enforcement here throughout King County. And so this is, we'll see how this rolls out, and really hoping that people are able to begin to build relationship. For me, it's always about relationships. So you have people that ride the bus every single day or riding the train every single day, and you have people that are new, coming into the city. It stops right there at the airport. And so being able to help people and guide them along on their transit path is interesting and great, if you ask me.
Right. I think it probably does lend for a little bit more flexibility. I ride the train a lot. I got an Orca pass. I pay for the train. I appreciate the service of the train. I pay for the train. And I'm able to pay for the train. But sometimes, it was a while ago, I've seen people who just really didn't understand how all the systems work, and they got on the train with a transfer. And then fair enforcement's, upset. Fair enforcement would hit them up. It wouldn't be like, oh, okay, look, bro, transfer doesn't work on this system. You need to do this and that. It would be like, oh, okay, well, you're out of compliance. Let me see your ID. And I mean, so there are, when you have such an international city like this and such a transited city and tourism and everything else, there does, as we say, need to be some space and grace when you're coming and you're dealing with these riders who are there on the train. And, and so that's just one thing. That's not even when you talk about looking through things through an equity lens. That's just like, man, good service on the train. That there needs to be a sense of discretion between whoever's on there to say, like, okay, well, you know what, I'm gonna inform you, and you'll move on. And then there's also looking at it as you would say, and they said in the article, with an equity lens, man, there's some people who can't afford the train, but they have to be, they need to move around. I remember me and little O, we were volunteering at one of the soup kitchens, for lack of a better word. Wasn't quite a shelter, but you could go and get a meal. And I was talking to some of the people there, and it was assumed they were homeless, and it was quite a few working poor. And one guy was telling me, he was like, look, man, I could either afford to take the different buses to work, or I could afford to buy food, basically to eat. And so he was like, man, I can't afford to do both. So he pays for his transit and then goes to the soup line, to eat dinner. So there are people who really are faced with some of these choices that are out there that they can't afford to move around. And I think that this program as well might add some flexibility for that. And an ambassador is able to probably give some options and give resource information for people who might need some support as well, as far as moving around, Orca card, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. And the thing is that help is necessary. I mean, I love your point about us being an international city and tourism. I mean, that's exactly what I'm talking about. If it's stopping right there at the airport, you have a lot of people that are using transit that actually are not familiar with the city. And how to navigate all of it is really key to that. And I agree with you, man. I mean, look, we grew up on the days of the transfer, man. We thought the transfer was all we needed.
Transfer
We paid one
take you
time and it got
everywhere.
us on everything.
Yeah. I mean, in a lot of other transit cities, like if you think about New York and Chicago, like you just can't enter the area near the train unless you pay the fare. I mean, that's also what makes our system here a bit different, is that you can actually walk all the way onto the train. There's no turnstile there or anything else. So, you have to be able to balance that, because that's not something they built into the system here. So, but it's good. Let's see what happens. Like I said, I encourage people to read more about that article there on the Capitol Hill Seattle blog. Moving on here, Colleen Echohawk, one of our favorites on the Morning Update show, always comes when we call. And so everything else, Colleen ran for mayor, didn't make it out of the primary, and we've got She's got a new gig. Colleen Echohawk joins YouthCare as interim CEO. This is from Ben Adlin at the South Seattle Emerald, right? And so, youth housing and service provider YouthCare, which operates an emergency shelter for young adults in Rainier Beach, announced yesterday that longtime affordable housing advocate and former Seattle mayoral candidate Colleen Echohawk has joined the organization as the interim CEO. So Echohawk, who you remember stepped down as a director of the Chief Seattle Club, said that she's honored to step into the leadership role at YouthCare. And YouthCare offers a range of services for youth across the city, including emergency shelters, community and independent living programs, employment services, education, and outreach. So yeah, new stop for Colleen Echohawk.
Hey, there we go. I mean, following folks that were once on the campaign trail and figuring out where they land if they didn't make it. This is really interesting because Colleen really is stepping into that role with a wealth of knowledge around, you know, how we deal with youth. And when we talk about youth coming from a wide variety of perspectives and lived experiences, you know, Colleen really has been so integral in her role at Chief Seattle Club. And so I know that there's a lot of skill set that she's also bringing along with her, but not just the skill set, it's also this passion for community that she really showcased at Chief Seattle Club and showed throughout her campaign trail for mayor. And so it'll be interesting to see how this role, how it fits and suits her, because I think that you really need somebody who understands the dynamics of the ways that we need to be caring for youth here in our city, but also somebody who stays connected to community. So, you know, very interesting to see that now she's over there at YouthCare, and congratulations to you, Colleen, for, you know, being able to step into this amazing role and bring all of your brilliance into it.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, I talked to Colleen Echohawk not too long after the primary, and I only had one question. I was like, "How does it feel to have your life back?" and she was like, "Man, it feels good. You know, being out there running for office is crazy, man." But you know, it's one thing that's really good about this is that it's definitely in step with the kind of work that she has been doing. And as interim CEO, then she's going to step in over there and kind of check everything and get them online for a permanent CEO over there at YouthCare and the important work that they're doing there. And I'll be honest with you, I couldn't think of a better person to fill that role of interim CEO than Colleen Echohawk.
Yeah, absolutely, yo.
All right. Speaking of interim roles, man, we got some news coming out of the city of Seattle. And one thing that's always big for us over here is at Convergence Arts and Culture, elevating Black artists and recovery with appointment of Royal Allie Barnes. And you can find this link. We'll put it in there. We've got that up on our website. The whole write-up there came out of, I believe, the mayor's office. Let's see here. Mayor Jenny Durkin announced that Royal Allie Barnes will be appointed to be the interim director of arts and the first Black woman to hold the position. Director Allie Barnes will lead arts during this critical time in recovery while the next administration seeks a new permanent director. Royal Allie Barnes has previously served as executive director of Langston Hughes Performing Arts Center in Seattle Parks, and as Woodland Park Zoo director. She was also formerly a budget and policy analyst in the city budget office, and as the first Black director of arts. Director Allie Barnes will elevate the voice of communities of color in Seattle arts and culture.
Oh man, what a fitting role for Royal Allie Barnes. Has been so integral in, you know, curating Black art, Black culture. We always talk about art and culture kind of in the same breath. And it's really because we understand how art drives culture. And it's very specific when you think about the wide variety of ethnicities that make up our great world and that really are right here in our city as well and in our county. This is something that's really exciting for the city of Seattle because Royal Allie Barnes is someone who not only, kind of like Colleen Echohawk, is coming in with a wealth of experience and knowledge, but also a deep passion for this work. It has been evident in the ways that she showed up at Langston and in other roles. I mean, if you're talking to people out there on the streets and they know Royal's work and they know Miss Barnes' work, they understand that it's always coming with this, eye for excellence. And ultimately, I'm excited to see how this plays out. And I think when they're thinking about the next mayor coming in, I mean, really, Royal Allie Barnes is a great candidate for continuing in this role as director over there for arts and culture. And I think when we are, looking at how to diversify a lot of these offices, for her to be the first Black woman for the city, that is telling, right? Because it really is needing somebody who has that lived experience that can bring it to bear with regard to how the city is looking at arts and culture. And really, for me, I think, when we talk about elevating Black artists in particular, it is something that is so necessary, but it's also not just necessary in terms of like, hey, it needs to happen, but also it's going to benefit the city of Seattle because there is so much amazing art that comes out of Black culture. And it has really been influential in other ways that other ethnicities have seen themselves as creatives and artists. And so I'm this is exciting news all around. I'm shocked that Royal Allie Barnes is the first Black woman to hold this position, but I also think that it speaks volumes to how the city is going to be intentional to infuse more inclusion and diversity in terms of, again, equity for me, because Black artists do need to be elevated. And I'm glad that Miss Royal Allie Barnes is going to be the one to do so. This is awesome news.
Yeah, no doubt. And big news as well. Historic news going over there. An interim role. We've been seeing it's a lot of news that's been popping out of the executive branch as of late. The mayor's office, as she goes into her home stretch here. Of course, not running for re-election. She's on the clock, and so we'll see what other appointments occur. But of course, congratulations over there. One more here. Put up.
I want to say one more thing about that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sure.
No, I just wanted to say one more thing about it, because I think what you just said is something that is so evident. We see this oftentimes when you have somebody holding an elected official position and they're no longer coming up for re-election. You see a lot of different measures that take place, honestly, in that final stretch. And my call to anybody out there who's either running right now as a candidate or anybody who holds any elected official position right now, think about what you can be doing while you hold that position to always be bold in your approaches. It's clear that Mayor Durkin is being bold recently, but I know that this is something that we could have used a long time ago. So I just wanted to put that out there, because I think you're right about, this is a trend, really. We've seen it before throughout America's history, but these are the kind of bold steps that are needed in the beginning of someone's term. And sometimes, it's like, hey, they're playing the fence. They don't want to, upset people by doing some of these bold measures, but this is really steps in the right direction.
This is true. One of the most powerful people in her office is Deputy Mayor, who's a Black woman, Tiffany Washington, who she did announce before she announced that she wasn't running for re-election. So there have been some people there in that office. And I know with arts and culture, Randy left in, I think, January, and Director Childers came in right after that. So, but yeah, I mean, either way, what would be interesting though, Trey, is people that are running for office, whoever's going to become mayor, what would be interesting is we need to set a benchmark or a yardstick of however Mayor Durkin's administration did, good or bad, for the Black community. And there needs to be a challenge to the incoming mayor to be like, hey, you need to exceed this. If that doesn't happen, if there's actually no benchmark, then there is nobody to hold the next mayor accountable to, right? And so I think that if we really want whoever's going to be the next mayor to actually take things to the next level for our community, then we need to get a pretty good understanding of exactly what's been done and hasn't been done in this last administration, and then challenge these candidates before election day. But challenge these candidates to see, like, okay, well, man, this is what Mayor Durkin did. This is what Mayor Durkin didn't do. And also county executive. This is what the county executive did. This is what the county executive didn't do. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I agree. Oh, and this is what we talk about in terms of measuring real progress towards goals. It was said to me over the weekend, sometimes we just celebrate the fact of having a goal, but that's not what it is. We don't need to celebrate that. We actually need to celebrate getting to that goal. And we need to hear from these candidates and elected officials of what it is they're going to do to be very action items, to be the very action items that are necessary towards getting to that goal. So I agree with you 100%. Understanding those benchmarks really give us a great foundation for the next administration to come in and identify exactly how they're going to exceed what was done in the previous administration. But this is also when we're talking about progress. That's actually what it is. If we stay stagnant, and as you said, they're taking our foot off the gas in terms of community, but it's the same with the elected officials. When you do all of that speaking during your campaign trail, then you have these amazing ideas that you want to do this and work with the right people and work with these communities. What is it really going to look like in practice? And you should have an action plan for how you're going to roll that out if you're given the opportunity to take on the position of whatever, elected position you're trying to go for. But I think that that's really how we are able to measure what progress looks like. And it is time for so much more like rapid progress when we think about, listening to where so many different community voices were coming from of all ethnicities, really coming to the brink to say, we have some real work to do to catch up to some of our global partners in this world, because when we talk about real equity here, we're lacking in America, and we got a lot of work to do.
All right, good stuff. Maybe we'll see. That might be an interesting project to be able to see, like, okay, what exactly did Mayor Durkin and also County Executive Constantine, what did they achieve for specifically for our community, but other communities as well, and let that be a benchmark for who's coming in next. So we'll see how that rolls. Reach out to their office, see what they're talking about. You think people would have something together? Like, hey, black folks, this is what we've been doing. So you never know. It might just be on a file somewhere. Request that. Last headline right here. It's not really a headline, but it's informational. Celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month in Seattle. That got underway yesterday. There's a article or right up there on our blog. The link is there in the comments. And yeah, man, it's National Hispanic Heritage Month, and man, it's celebration of history and culture of people of Hispanic or Latinx ancestry who came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Central and South America. And yeah, this is a dope celebration. You know what I'm saying? I think we know all around Seattle particularly, man, that there's so many different neighborhoods, areas, influences, food, some everything else. And actually the blog post that we got up there, that's courtesy of Visit Seattle. And if you click that, there's all kinds of different events that are going on throughout the next 30 days.
Well, this is a great announcement indeed. And, anytime that we can celebrate the ethnic cultures that really do bring their traditions, their culture to create this amazing, salad that we have in our country here in America. I say salad versus like melting pot, because we don't want people to lose their culture. We want them to, literally keep their crunch. And so it's all of these different ingredients that make us great and that make us different from a lot of other places. And so so shout out to all of the Hispanic and Latinx brothers and sisters out there that are, celebrating right now. And I think it's a really important opportunity for all of us to be educated, dive in, understand what some of that history is, understand some of the lived experiences right now that are currently going on. Because when we think about the city of Seattle in particular, we talk about all these ethnicities living here, but we understand that there are different discriminatory practices that are built into the system that hit different cultures in a very specific and unique way. And for me, I'm always, centering on the Black experience. And so I could learn more from understanding how, a lot of our Hispanic and Latin brothers and sisters, have a different experience. When we talk about migrant workers and we talk about farming, there's a lot of different things around that lifestyle that I could learn from because they're living with some different kinds of disparities. And I think it's just always a great opportunity for us to dive in and really educate ourselves. So,
yeah, I mean, and the term Hispanic is very wide and encompassing, and different representation underneath that wide umbrella, depending upon where you are in America, because people very well might celebrate National Hispanic Heritage Month differently in Seattle or Central Washington than they might in, say, Miami, or this vibrant culture down there. Either way, I'm looking forward to good food as usual. And I really like that. I like what you said as a salad as opposed to a melting pot. So I don't know what are Black folks in the salad?
You know what? That's a great question. Oh, I think we bring, a lot of different things, but I say I particularly would go with the cucumbers, man, because we got that crunch.
Cucumber, okay, all right. Well, that's good too, because a cucumber doesn't wilt quickly either. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Got some longevity.
All right, we're gonna let Cuddy take us to break, and when we get back, we're gonna be talking about support Black business right here on the Morning Update Show.
Market Street Shoes, slinging kicks since 2006 with styles that support you and yours, getting the F outside or staying comfy when you just want to lounge indoors as well. But wait, Market Street Shoes is way more than just a shoe store. Gear up for your next outdoor adventure with apparel and accessories that'll have you looking good on the streets, the trail, or even in your own backyard. With locations in Ballard, Redmond, and online at marketstreetshoes.com, there's undoubtedly a style and size that'll fit your lifestyle.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. And Trey Holiday, I got to tell you, that blue and your top is just popping off that background. I mean, you look great.
Yay. Thank you. Oh, that means a lot. I appreciate that. I'm glad that I could pop off of this amazing background over here.
Yeah, hopefully pots and pans and stuff is, coordinated. All right. So it's time right now for one of my favorite parts of the show, support Black business. And that's powered by our No Excuses. And today we're actually highlighting a partner. I'll put up the screen right here. The Elite Collective. So if you're looking for branding, they do a lot of branding for us here at Converge. We'll go ahead and put that link in the comments. This is Carlos Imani and the team over there at the Elite Collective. And man, these guys do it all from graphics, flyer design, to video, to live streaming, to just overall branding, to image, some of everything else. A real hardworking crew over there at the Elite Collective.
Yeah, and you know what? Shout out to everybody over there at the Elite Collective. Just really, whether it is you need branding, you need video, you need photos, you need logos created. I mean, they do it all. And, really, Carlos has been, he picked up that camera years ago, and it's like he never put it down. He has been able to proliferate not just his skills, but his businesses. I mean, they're doing these things for companies and nonprofit organizations and cities, even government entities. I mean, they're working with a lot of different clients that they have. They have a wide client base, but also Carlos is still out here with Smile Patrol, and he has the photo booth that's out at events, and he's customizing these new experiences around photo, and that I think are so fun. When you have one of those booths there and it's all digital and they can text you the photos now, it's got its own branding for every event. It's really taking it to another level. And I just love seeing how Carlos Imani has grown as an individual, because I've known him for so long. And it's one of those beautiful things when we talk about being able to celebrate people in our community who took something that they really loved and they were like, you know what, I'm going to really dive in. I'm going to know how to do all of this work. I'm going to be able to be a great one-stop shop for our companies here and for our business owners, for our corporations, our nonprofits. He's doing it for everyone. And shout out to the whole team, because it does take a team to make that effort happen. And, he has got a lot of folks that have a really great eye for photos. I know we saw our guy Vic out there at Cuddy's Sleepless in Seattle event, snapping shots. And to be honest, always great products coming out from that entire team.
Yep. So if you need any branding, so if you need a business card, you need a website, you need a flyer design, all the way up to a TV commercial, check out the Elite Collective. Support Black business. And now we got some new entries today into Black Business Relief. That's right. We got some more information to tell you about. We're happy to get to right here. First up, though, we're on message until September 20th. It's the Rudge Rub, raising up Black businesses. That's through the good people over at Ezell's, and there's a link that's there in the comments. Grants up to $2,500, and that's available for people here, not only in Seattle, but across the state of Washington and down into Portland as well, into the Oregon area. So very happy about that. Let's see here. Oh, Back Black Businesses. This is new. This is from American Express. To pull this up, the Coalition to Back Black Businesses is a multi-year grant-making and training initiative to help support Black-owned small businesses as they recover from COVID-19. The COVID-19 pandemic and chart a path forward. The initiative launched in fall of last year and provides grants to qualifying Black-owned small businesses through 2023. And this is powered by American Express. And there's a link there that's in the comments. So we got that going as well. And also, told you we're probably going to hear some news from Comcast. Comcast, they got $1 million, $1 million. They're giving out in $10,000 grants in King County and in Pierce County. Got a little clip right here.
Are largely in COVID. Small businesses have been almost twice as likely to shutter.
Disproportionately so.
More than half of Black business owners
struggling to obtain federal paycheck protection.
COVID-19 on African Americans.
Somehow we always find a way to rise.
To the blueprint builders, to the backbones of every block, to the late night legends and the pioneers of legacy, for the curators of the culture, for the family franchise, and for generations to follow. You might fall, but never fail. Keep rising, keep rising, keep rising. Apply today for a variety of business, marketing, and tech makeovers on us to help your rise.
All right, so Comcast, and you know why this is this thing here, and I've been talking to Comcast about it because you remember, Trey, You remember, it was a few years ago when Comcast was like, oh, we're trying to do something, Black community or whatever. And I was like, nah, you know what I'm saying? You just a gimme kind of thing of like, oh, we're supporting Black. I'm like, nah, you know what I'm saying? Do something substantial, you know? And I'm not saying that my one conversation influenced the whole company, but I think there was a lot of people like me out there who was like, man, you know what? You guys are a really big company. Put your money where your mouth is. And so this is their second round here with the Rise. And we're going to keep an eye on this. It's, let's see, $10,000, $10,000 grants, small businesses here in King County and Pierce County. And we're going to help them out. We want people to sign up. We want to see this money come out. We want to see where this money goes. There's a link there in the comments. And right now, what it is between now and the end of the month is an opportunity for people to look at all the qualifications, get all your paperwork together and everything else. And then you can apply from the 1st of October through, I think, the 13th or the 15th of October. But we've got the link there. People can read all about it. But that would be really good to see 100 businesses in our communities get this $1 million.
Yeah, you know, this is really exciting when we think about not just showcasing that companies like Comcast, like American Express are understanding that there's a need to be very intentional about investing in Black business, but it's about the commitment to something that is longer term. You know, when we think about all of the ways that businesses need support, I love how Comcast really specified that whether it's just help with your marketing, this money scaling up, because of COVID, all of those things are, impacting our Black businesses. And one of the major costs around Black businesses is marketing. When we think about how they can scale up, how they can grow their customer base or client base, a lot of it is because they need the money to then drive marketing campaigns. And that becomes really difficult when you're a solopreneur or entrepreneur out there with a small team and you're trying to figure out how to just do the business side of business. So to be able to get some expert advice and guidance around things like marketing, I think is so key to this. But it's also that it's a multi-year commitment. This is not, Black community doesn't need anything that's transactional. What I love what you always say, when we were talking about the port, and you were saying it's not about a hand out, it's about a hand up. And when we have that, really the country is better off for it. And so this is beneficial all around to everyone who's going to be involved in these efforts to support Black businesses. I think we're going to see some real thriving economies that are built off of these investments because, as that commercial just said, we always rise, right? For them to even call it Rise, they understand that there's this inherent resilience that is built in. And we've seen it time and time again throughout America's history and globally throughout the history of Black people in general. There's this constant, push to always do better, become better, push and strive and literally rise. So I think that, one of the things we love to say in community here locally is that it's not just about existing, it's about thriving. So when they were talking about rising, I was literally thinking thriving. How do we create thriving Black businesses that are going to be able to stand the test of time like Ezell's, So again, kudos to Ezell's, American Express, and Comcast for seeing this need that it needs to be really specific and intentional around Black business investment. I'm excited to see how this second round of Rise comes out and really helps our businesses here, because you're right. The first round, I know several business owners who were able to take advantage of that opportunity. And this is another leg on that because they're being very serious and intentional about this commitment. It's great to see.
Right. And so, like I said, the links there in the comments, you can check everything out. But so basically, from now through October 1st, people can review the eligibility requirements and begin to prepare the information for the application. And then October 1st through the 14th, the application window is eligible for businesses to apply for the $10,000 Comcast Rise grants. And November 23rd, Rise grants recipients will be announced. And this is one I'm staying on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see. I mean, all of these we want to see, like, money come out and money be delivered and people's businesses impacted. But it's this is a big corporation, and and they've put this grant here and in 5 other markets across America, and we want to be able to follow the story, follow the money line, so to speak. And yeah, I'm glad that our Black business relief section is growing, and actually we've got more coming out. I think next week there's going to be $5 million for cultural organizations that were impacted by COVID. So, you know what I'm saying? I spend my time trying to collect this information and talking to people. And also when I talk to people, I always want to make sure that what the barriers to entry are, because a lot of times, intentionally or unintentionally, it's this money is out there, but the barrier to entry is crazy and it's not accessible. And also something I wanted to double check with Comcast is I was like, man, do you have to be a Comcast customer? And they were like, no. And I was like, okay, well, that's something else we want to make sure of, is that you don't just have to be a customer of theirs to apply for the grant. But yeah, this cultural, like I said, there's $5 million there. There's $1 million on the table. It's a good amount of money that's out there, and we want to be intentional and use our platform to make people aware of it, and then they can apply, where they feel that they might have an opportunity or need or dollar amount that might match their need.
Yeah, I mean, you're so right when you talk about barriers, because oftentimes that is what brings in the restrictions. And that's why I think that intentionality is really important, and it's key to a lot of these investments that companies are beginning to make. Because when we think about targeting businesses that have been hit the hardest, it is going to be Black businesses. I mean, we see this. It's going to be Black businesses. Business owners of color are oftentimes the ones that are the most impacted by, devastation in any economic market. And it's because of this stuff that's built into the system that allows for a lot of white businesses to find those loopholes and still succeed. So I love that this is really specific, because this is exactly what is needed right now when we think about how COVID and this pandemic has really impacted the Black community. So again, kudos to those companies for saying, we see a need here and we want to step in and fill some voids.
All right, good stuff. We're going to take a quick break right now. When we come back, we've got a few more things to discuss before we get out of here. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Market Street Shoes, slinging kicks since 2006, with styles that support you and yours, getting the F outside or staying comfy when you just want to lounge indoors as well. But wait, Market Street Shoes is way more than just a shoe store. Gear up for your next outdoor adventure with apparel and accessories that'll have you looking good on the streets, the trail, or even in your own backyard. With locations in Ballard, Redmond, and online at marketstreetshoes.com, there's undoubtedly a style and size that'll fit your lifestyle.
All right, and welcome back to, I need to get back in that studio. The studio shot looks great. Those guys, big shout out to Salman and to Curtis. I mean, man, they got it set over there.
Yeah, they got it all the way nice and right over here. Oh, that is for sure.
All right, good stuff. We're going to get out of here a bit early. All these shows this week are early. We're resuming back to a lot of our news stuff next week. But as we go in here, a few reminders is one is Clapback Culture is tonight at 7:00 with Mike Davis of the South Seattle Emerald and Julia Jesse, Converge Media. So we look forward to that. Two, we're rolling out our full, we've been testing our event calendar and kind of testing and seeing response and everything else. So we're going to launch our event calendar next week. So that's coming next week. We're excited about that. The blog is there. It's updated where we converge /post. So we're engaging more there, and lots of exciting stuff. And now, I'm really waiting for this full launch of the studio. I might stay camped out here in the kitchen until we really launch it all the way out. It's on the clock though. I think we're down to just over 2 weeks. left until the full launch of the studio. But any last words before we get out of here, Trey?
Oh, for me, it's a consistent message. And before I get to that, I got to say, that I'm already hearing buzz out there in the streets because people are so ready to get up in here and see how we're moving and grooving in this studio space. So I want to put that out there. But for me, you guys, the message is always the same. I really think that it's important for us to see ourselves as part of the solution. When we are able to do the Black Business Relief section and really showcase how businesses and major companies are stepping up to the plate to fill voids, I say it's on all of us to find the voids and fill them. And the more we do this, the better off we are. So please get inspired. Find something that you're passionate about, something that maybe you were impacted by, and you want to be sure that another family or another individual is not impacted in a negative way as you may have experienced. But anything that, even if it's a positive experience, you can actually lend yourself to that positivity, or you can lend yourself to eradicating the negativity that you've experienced when you actually get out there and become a part of some amazing solutions. So I encourage you to do so.
All right, good stuff. Again, reminder, 7 o'clock tonight, Clap Back Culture. Make sure and tune in for that. Otherwise, I want to remind you, go forward in your purpose, go forward in your humanity. And until tomorrow, and thank God it'll be Friday at 11 a.m. Peace.
Peace.
Lift every voice and sing till earth in heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun.